American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting...
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous people can't come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It means
like
they came here first, right? They came.
Let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you think that Republicans and employers of big firms would suddenly raise all the wages?
You notice how you didn't answer what I said. You notice how you believe. It was a complete. Your ankles all right. You pivoted the hell away from the conversation.
Is that what you? I'm on the subject. Okay? Do you believe that wages? I'm just wondering how naive you are. You believe that the 1% will raise wages in the federal wage if we stop immigration?
They will be forced to. When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power because you're tightening the supply of labor.
This is a very simplistic understanding of economics because you're
explain I'm wrong.
I'm telling you how you're wrong. Because you're ignoring the fact that when immigrants come into an area, they spend money. They create jobs through their presence.
About 1/5 of their monthly income leaves the country.
That's a good thing also because you don't like US aid, foreign aid. So this is the point. They create jobs. I came into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing politics.
I never said Americans are lazy.
I don't know why you say this.
I never said Americans are lazy.
Yes, you are. You're saying immigrants have to come into this country so they can do jobs that we don't want to do. That's exactly what you said.
When did I say it?
Oh, really?
When did I say it? We're on YouTube. Guys watching on YouTube, rewind to the time where I said immigrants are doing jobs we don't want to do. When did I say those words?
Everyone repeat after me. Immigrants are more than just their labor. I've seen a few people talk about this and I wanted to bring this up as well. Immigrants aren't just worthy of basic human rights and decency because of what they contribute to the economy. Too often, their worth is tied to their labor, as if they only matter when they're contributing to the economy.
The great irony is, of course, that Donald Trump is the son of an immigrant, the grandson of an immigrant, and married to an immigrant. In fact, 2 of his 3 wives were immigrants, proving yet again that immigrants will do the jobs that even Americans are not willing to do.
Oh, what a mic drop that was, dude.
I mean, it's really important for us to remember our history. Unless you're one of the first Americans, a Native American, you came from someplace else. Somebody brought you. The Irish, who left behind a land of famine. The Germans, who fled persecution. The Scandinavians who arrived eager to pioneer out west. The Polish, the Russians, the Italians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the West Indians, the huddled masses who came through Ellis Island on one coast and Angel Island on the other. All those folks, before they were us, they were them.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really? What was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting...
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous people can't come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It means they
like
came here first, right? They came.
Let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you think that Republicans and employers of big firms would suddenly raise all the wages?
You notice how you didn't answer what I said. You notice how you believe. It was a complete. Your ankles all right. You pivoted the hell away from the conversation.
Is that what you? I'm on the subject. Okay? Do you believe that wages? I'm just wondering how naive you are. You believe that the 1% will raise wages in the federal wage if we stop immigration?
They will be forced to. When you increase labor's relationship to capital, okay, and you give labor more bargaining power because you're tightening the supply of labor.
This is a very simplistic understandanding of economics because you're
explain I'm wrong.
I'm telling you how you're wrong. Because you're ignoring the fact that when immigrants come into an area, they spend money. They create jobs through their presence.
About 1/5 of their monthly income leaves the country.
That's a good thing also because you don't like US aid, foreign aid. So this is the point. They create jobs. I came into this country. So far, every one of my assumptions about you has been correct. But listen to me. I am an immigrant. I'm speaking from personal experience.
Get the hell out.
I don't even like... I should get the hell out.
Yes.
Why?
I don't want you here.
Why?
Because you come here and say all this bullshit about how Americans are lazy.
Why?
You push your left-wing politics.
I never said Americans are lazy.
I don't know why you say this.
I never said Americans are lazy.
Yes, you are. You're saying immigrants have to come into this country so they can do jobs that we don't want to do. That's exactly what you said.
When did I say it?
Oh, really?
When did I say it? We're on YouTube. Guys watching on YouTube, rewind to the time where I said immigrants are doing jobs we don't want to do. When did I say those words? Words that came out of my mouth.
Okay, so why do we have to bring in immigrants? Why do we have to bring in immigrants to the country?
Hi, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you, Daniela. So in regards to your claim, I just want to start by asking this. Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true. Where'd you get, what's the basis of your claim for that?
Are you talking about people that get naturalized in the process of becoming American?
14th Amendment. Have you read it?
Okay, yes, I have.
Citizenship clause. It says any persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States.
I'm aware of that.
There's about 40 to 50 million naturalized Americans in this country.
Yes, but
you didn't seem aware of it because you said Americans versus immigrants.
So, but are you understanding that the process of getting all these immigrants that come in here we've been also the millions of immigrants, it's up to the millions, it's the last 20 years now, and it has dramatically affected Americans here in the country, which
positively, I would argue.
People like me and everyone around here, we cannot find homes or even get jobs within our own fields that we go to college for, that we get into debt for. And because more blue collar work, especially in construction, agriculture and so forth, and the hospitality industry, we cannot get jobs in those fields. So it requires
Are you looking for a job in construction?
I am not. No, I went to college.
Okay.
Many people here are in college or went to college, but we can't even find jobs in our fields. Also because of the H-1B visa program as well. But in regards to just your claim about immigrants specifically, we cannot even get jobs to pay for housing.
Unemployment is at a record low right now, even under Donald Trump. And I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but I would say unemployment under both Biden and Trump has been at record low levels.
Okay. Is this in regards for American citizens?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm unaware of that statistic, but from what I see, from what I can
I'm an immigrant and an American, and I employ many American citizens, both naturalized and the ones born here. I employ Americans.
My parents came
Americans as defined by you.
My parents came as immigrants to become naturalized, so I'm not necessarily opposed to immigrants.
So you're the child of immigrants.
Correct. I'm a child of immigrants. I was born
But you don't accept that immigrants are Americans?
Not at this moment.
So your parents are not Americans?
Not at this moment.
So hold on, your parents are not Americans?
They're citizens. They became naturalized.
You just said you can't be citizens by being naturalized.
No, I was born here, and I'm not opposed to naturalization. I never said that I'm against naturalization.
Are you against naturalization?
No, I never said I was against naturalization.
You began. Everyone was here. They can play it back on YouTube. You said Americans or immigrants. Are your parents Americans or immigrants?
No, my parents are United States citizens.
But they're immigrants, you said.
No, they came here as immigrants. However, but I want to make the claim that we cannot
I came here as an immigrant. I'm an immigrant.
But at this point, when they came, the United States
happy with the way this is going for you.
The United States economy was not at.
It's better now. The American economy is better than it's been for many years. And I can say that as someone who doesn't like Donald Trump.
We're giving millions and billions of dollars to people of minorities as well as
the reason the economy is doing badly now is because Donald Trump's tariff policy. Nothing to do with migrants. In fact, the congressional.
We can't even start businesses.
I'm an immigrant. I started a business.
No, I understand because the SBA is giving people billions of loans. They're giving them billions.
I didn't take any loans.
I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying that statistically speaking, they're giving billions of loans.
So should we do statistics? According to statistics, immigrants are 80% more likely to be entrepreneurs than native-born Americans. They're more likely to start businesses and hire Americans.
No, I'm aware of that.
Immigrants are more likely to pay in taxes than take out in benefits. They're more likely to add to innovation and jobs and wages. This is what the statistics show. The Congressional Budget Office. Let me just finish my point and then let you come back in. The Congressional Budget Office, which is bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats both use it. They have said that the immigration surge that you mentioned will lead to an extra $9 trillion of GDP over the next 10 years. That amounts to $65,000 per American household. That's $65,000 for each and every one of you holding up a red flag.
Okay, I understand.
All right,
that, but
pause. You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your seat.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have all seen that the Americans, they believe that all their issues, all the economical issues that they are facing is based on the immigrants. They believe that if their country is not doing well, it's because of the immigrants. Like we have seen some of the clips. How can someone be saying that they are facing difficulties of, when some of them they are graduated from college and they don't have jobs, and we all know that majority of the immigrants, especially when you're talking about the Black Americans, when you're talking about the Black folks which are now in the US, you can all see that they are into, a lot of agricultural labors. They are into jobs that even if they are not present, majority of the US citizens, they'll find themselves very difficulties to stood down to those levels to do such jobs. And meanwhile, when all these incomes have, generated, because according to statistics, it's showing that a lot of government revenue is coming from the immigrants in the country. Then meanwhile, the citizens of the country still find it very difficult to believe that the immigrants are the one contributing to the revenue of the government. And that's one of the reasons why they voted for Trump in the first place, because they believe that Trump was going to help them, deport all the immigrants, so they will make America a better place. But later on, they find the rules Trump is trying to implement affecting both them and even the immigrants, with also the black folks. So in today's episode, I've put together some clips, like I said, very interesting one. So I'd like us to watch this clip. When we are done, I'll be back with my comments. But before we go, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, turn on your notification.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Eddie.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. All right. So first, before I start, I need to know what you mean by good. I can talk about the economy. I can talk about culture. I can talk about all those things. I need to know what you mean.
All of them. I'm saying immigrants are good for the economy. They're good for culture.
Lower wages are good for the economy?
Society. Where's the lower wages?
What do you mean, where's the lower wages?
Where's the lower wages?
Yeah, so you can
What's
look
the
at
basis for saying there are lower wages?
Sure. So you can look at like the STEM industry. It's been in like a complete and total recession. There's been tons of studies like from the Economic Policy Institute that shows that like companies like Tesla, companies from like Silicon Valley, they engaged in mass firing of workers, around 35,000, but then they hired around 12,000 H-1B visas. And it's kind of just standard economic thinking.
It's not standard economic thinking. The vast majority of economists and economic studies suggest that there is a negligible, if no impact on wages over time.
That's not
from immigrants. In fact, your colleague mentioned earlier, construction, there is actually evidence in construction, yes. But in some industries, in some areas, there is an impact. But overall, no. In fact, a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research found that migrants since 1965 have raised wages and raised innovation.
Who's that by?
National Bureau for Economic Research.
No, hold on. That's where you publish studies. I'm asking
yes, I didn't memorize the names of the authors.
Yeah, I know you did. Right?
Can you give me the authors you've got?
Yeah, hold on. The study you're talking about is from Giovanni Perry, and what he did is he didn't account for aggregation issues, nor did he.
The vast majority of studies.
Let me speak,
please.
Yeah, thank you. Right. So listen, he didn't account for aggregation issues, right? And when you look at like the spatial approach, which is what all these economists use, you're not accounting for the fact that when immigrants come into an area, natives leave. If you look at an occupational approach, where you look at the specific firms that immigration is going into, like Kim ETAL 2013 did, you find a net negative impact when there's a 10% increase of immigration. You find around a 0.5% decline in wages when it comes to the specific occupations they're going to.
So
all your studies are flawed.
So 0.5%. Weigh that up against what I just mentioned from the Congressional Budget Office, which is a massive boost in GDP per head, which you're not counting for. Massive increase in tax revenue. Immigrants actually funding the deficits and debts by paying way more in taxes proportionately into the undocumented immigrants. And what's interesting about wages is I'm in a room full of, I don't know what to call you anymore, conservatives, Republicans, fascists, I don't know. One of you has proudly said that.
Call us correct.
One of us proudly. Oh yeah, correct. I'm in a room full of correct people, but do any of you actually care about wages? Because for example,
I actually do.
For example, do you support raising the minimum wage?
Absolutely, and you can't do that when you're bringing all these people coming into
your country. That's not the reason the Republican Party blocks the minimum wage. You think Republican politicians don't vote for an increase in minimum wage because they're worried about immigration?
Did I say I voted Republican? Did I say I voted Republican?
Well, I'm in a show that was called 25 Far-Right Republicans.
That doesn't mean I'm going to support every single Republican candidate.
So you and I, good. So you and I, let's agree. We both support raising the minimum wage. Yes?
100%.
$7.25 since 2009. It's lost 30% of its value. If you care about wages, we should be raising the minimum wage in this country, not scapegoating migrants who aren't the cause of low wages in the country. You know who's causing low wages? Billionaires, millionaires, and people who won't pay fair wages to their wages, regardless of whether you are an immigrant or a native-born
I get the monologue right now. Let me respond.
You had one. You had one with your one study that had a 0.5% impact. Go.
Yeah, and your study sucked that you didn't even know who wrote it, right? So let's get back to the point, right?
Because I don't need to.
And there it goes again.
The majority of studies say that wages are not impacted by migration.
The majority of your studies are flawed. That's what I'm telling you.
My studies. Right. Neither of us are economists. It's the economist studies.
Don't assume who I am.
Are you an economist?
I could be.
But are you?
I could be.
Are you?
I'm not going to tell you.
Are you?
I'm going to major in economics, right?
Are you an economist?
No, not right now.
Okay, so when I said neither is economist, I was correct.
Just don't assume.
To use your favorite word.
See here, dude, this is nothing of substance. You look at the red flags; they're coming up. Let me get to the point.
But
so when you talk about the CBO, one thing you're not accounting for here is that they're assuming an equilibrium, right? Do you know what that means? You shouldn't make these type of assumptions. You said earlier that unemployment.
Do I know what it means? I thought we're not doing assumptions.
Okay, hold on. You mentioned we were at 4.2% unemployment. Yeah, that's counting people who have part-time jobs. That's counting poverty wages.
Yeah, and I'm against poverty wages. Can we agree again?
Yes. If you go to the Lookwood Institute, they calculated a way where it's functional unemployment. Okay. If you account for things like just people who make around $25,000 a year, people who have fallen out of the labor market, people who only work part-time, if you count all of those people together, and then add on the unemployment, that's around 25% of the population. So when you go, we don't have jobs, we don't have people to do this, and that, and the other. No, yes, we do. Okay, we don't have a labor shortage. We have a good job shortage. And when you keep bringing these people in, and they're taking those jobs.
The good job shortage is the fault of big firms, employers. I'm an employer. I can say that.
Who hires the immigrants?
Who hires the immigrants?
Yeah.
Employers.
Exactly. So when you bring up these big firms,
okay, so
that's the way that keeps wages down. You understand that, right?
So let me ask you a question. If you got rid of all immigrants coming in tomorrow, moratorium, you hate everything we stand for. It's funny that you said you're a Catholic nationalist. How did most Catholics get to America? Irish Catholics, Italian Catholics. Immigration. Much of the people coming across the southern border are Catholics.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
So it's really funny that you say you're a Catholic nationalist, but Catholics came to America via immigration.
Yeah, so
immigration is good for America. You and I can agree. Otherwise, people of your faith wouldn't be here.
No. Well, we were here on this side of the world, in this continent, from conquest. We came over here, and
but the big surges of numbers, as you well know, because you're a smart guy, Italian, Irish immigration waves, Catholic immigration waves.
Okay, yeah, and I'm not even claiming.
Against those?
I'm not even claiming.
Were you against those? If you were alive,
I'm not even claiming that immigration
a lot of people were against those.
I'm not claiming immigration is bad in all cases at all times.
What is your claim?
My claim is that immigration, especially now, and especially for foreign people that have nothing in common with us,
it's funny you say it's especially
a negative
now.
thing.
I forgot your name. My apologies. Brian.
Yeah, how many
in every era there has been a Brian who says, I'm not against immigration, just immigration now.
Okay.
This is what people said about Italians, it's what people said about Irish folks, said about Russians, Poles, and now we're saying about people coming across the southern border. Because you're not being you're being a little disingenuous saying I'm only against immigrants now. This is a trope.
How's that disingenuous?
This is because it's a trope that's been used by nativists throughout American history. And every wave of immigrants has come in and faced the same hate and animus and bigotry and lazy trope. And every wave of immigration is ultimately assimilated, integrated, benefited the country. In fact, assimilation right now, according to Jacob Victor from the University of Washington, assimilation rates based on language and citizenship and naturalization are higher now than 100 years ago.
Okay, let me make a statement first. I think that you in your own
my statement, but
you and your own person are a complete perfect example of why immigration is negative and why we shouldn't allow people who don't have anything in common with us. You're pro-abortion, you're pro-euthanasia,
I'm pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, you went. I've seen your stuff. You've defended euthanasia.
Pro-euthanasia.
Yeah, on Piers Morgan.
No, I've never discussed euthanasia with Piers Morgan in my life.
Okay, so my point is that you don't agree
actually,
with
I'm the guy
founders
here.
of this country.
If anyone watching at home, I'm the only guy here who actually supports American values, democracy, free speech, the Constitution. I've got folks here telling me they don't believe in democracy, that they're nationalists.
Wait, why should we care about that, by the way?
Isn't that what America stands for? What does America stand for? So you hate what America stands for, not me.
I'm not even
saying. And in fact, all the studies show that immigrants actually are more patriotic than native-born Americans.
The only reason why, that's the Mexicans in LA right now burning it down, waving Mexican flags.
LA's being burned down?
Please don't send us back to the country that we're waving the flag of.
I've been in LA for a few days. I didn't see anything burned down.
Yeah, I know the riots have ended. That's because Trump sent.
But if it's burned down, where's it all burned down? I haven't seen it. I've traveled around all of LA. You said LA was burned down. LA is 500 square miles. It's not a figure of speech, actually. It's another false claim of yours.
No, they're burning.
I support euthanasia. LA's burned to the ground.
Bro, just
immigrants hate what we stand for.
Okay, so
I'm super relaxed.
So you're pro-abortion.
But you're just saying one false thing after another.
So you're pro-abortion,
and I'm standing by my position. Immigrants are good for me.
You're pro-abortion. You're an immigrant.
I'm pro-Roe v. Wade. Personally, I'm not pro-abortion. If you knew anything about me, you know.
Roe v. Wade is.
All right, pause. You've been voted out.
I was going to say nice to meet you, Brian, but I guess not. You made it.
Great to see you. My name is Cyrus.
Nice to meet you, Cyrus.
I am also son of 2 immigrants, came in legally. I'm also Persian descent.
Fantastic.
Born in LA.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Terangelis.
Yes. Well, I am mainly upset, not at the immigrants, legal or not. I'm mainly upset at Wall Street. I'm mainly upset at the elites, the special interests.
I'm with you.
They are the main reason why we've been having this issue since 1965. And most want to do well. There are a few bad apples, we can agree.
Okay.
But we want to go after the elites. They are the main cause of the problem.
Love it.
And just like healthcare, trade, everything.
Did you know, Cyrus, that the top 1% dodge $163 billion in taxes every year, while undocumented people pay $100 billion in tax? So I know where my anger is against.
There are issues with our tax system on the rich, but in a state like California, some taxes are too high. I used to live here, now I live in Las Vegas.
Different debate.
Okay.
I'm saying immigration is good for America.
Depends on the
people
tax.
like you and me overall are good for America is what I'm saying.
Okay, but depends on how it's done.
Yes.
It depends on how it's done.
And how it's been done to the U.S.
I'm not blaming the housing crisis on immigrants, not on wages, but in a state like like California that doesn't build enough homes and they're bringing immigrants in, you have to increase supply of housing.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
But this is where our anger is at the political class.
I agree.
The Democrat Party used to have a different stance on immigration 15 years ago. Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton.
I'm not a fan of that. I'm not here to defend different Democrats. What I will say is
that's our anger.
What I will say is that everyone here actually does think immigration is good for America. Everyone here uses an iPhone designed by an immigrant, is on Gmail designed by an immigrant, is on a YouTube show.
But
this all came to a YouTube show founded by an immigrant. You wouldn't be here.
But that's
if it
a
wasn't for
tiny
an immigrant.
minority.
So you all love immigrants, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but it is a taboo subject. Should we be concerned about the demographics? So
no.
Anglo-Saxon, European Americans, 0% of America, it doesn't matter.
Are they 0% of America?
Well, let's say if it becomes 0%, it should not worry.
They're not going to. Why are you bringing weird hypotheticals?
But there has to. But I mean, they're still part of our country. There's culture. There's. I mean, even Britain. Like, it concerns me. But it concerns me when Britain is changing, and it's it's like they're losing their culture. But it's losing their culture. Are they? Are they going to try to?
I'm from the UK. I'm telling you, no one's losing their culture.
London is going to be very little British in one day. What's the plan? That's what we want to know. What's the plan?
You just made that up. Have you been to London?
How do we know?
Cyrus, have you been to London?
No.
So then maybe you shouldn't comment on places you don't know anything about.
But what's the plan?
I grew up in London. London's a very British city. I was in London a few weeks ago.
Okay.
It's a very British city.
I hope not. I understand that there are people in this audience that don't like me or you in this country, and I respect that. There's some that don't even want me to date a blonde woman. They want to keep to their own, or ginger or whatever. I respect that, but there has to be a deal made. There's Idaho, there's Montana. They can go live in a homogeneous society. I don't believe in force, okay? And I believe that there has to be a deal made. And I think there's upsides and downsides to diversity.
There's a deal made. People have elections. They vote for elections. And right now, there's Donald Trump in the White House. Not someone I support, but people voted for him.
Well, why did he get in? Mainly because we had 2016.
Not sure we have time to get into that.
Bernie Sanders. Okay.
Part of the reason he got in is that people in this room want people like me and you to leave, and they voted for him to try and make that happen.
I'm not surprised. One of the Charlottesville marchers doesn't like me, and I've met those people, and I respect their views.
You really shouldn't.
Well, they're wants.
Don't respect racists and fascists is my advice to you.
Well, they have their preferences. That's just, we can't change that.
Actually, we can. That's why I tried to come in today, but anyways.
All right. That's time. Please return to your seat.
Thank you.
For people who've looked into the truth about history and the truth about countries, I'm not talking about the propaganda they push through school and History Channel and all that. African Americans or black people were here first. They were in the majority of countries first as well before white people. That's also naturally why their hair grows upwards towards the ether and our hair grows down lower. That's also why they don't get poisoned or sunburned by the sun. The sun actually electrically charges them. People also think that they actually have melanin. They have carbon within their skin. Okay? And I can go very deep about things that are going on. And TikTok will take this video down if I do. And all I'm going to say to you is do your own deep research on this. Do not just listen to what you are told about history, okay? How you feel doesn't matter. Again, as I say, how you feel doesn't matter, because how you feel is probably your emotional attachment to ideas you have been taught growing up.
Right, racists, we're going to address this again since the inferior people are struggling. Black Americans are the only indigenous people on this land. Melanated people are the only people around the world who are indigenous on every land, no matter their ethnic group. Uncivilized lands all have the same genetic connection, melanated skin with varying shades of brown. And those groups are not connected to Africa, just like Black Americans aren't connected to Africans ethnically. The actual American Indian, known as the Black Americans, are the ethnic group of North America, not descendants of Africans. Let's dismantle the greatest public relations fraud ever committed, the desperate multiracial campaign to erase the true indigenous Black American from this land. There is a coordinated effort, a relentless lie, designed to make Black Americans believe they are a guest in someone else's house. But the unchangeable archaeological and historical truth is that Black Americans are the foundation. They were here first. And by here, I mean the world. Every country. Every strip of land. And they built the civilization that we are all destroying. The lie about Africa is to confuse and mislead so that the theft can keep going on. Black Americans weren't even considered African American until 1988 by Jesse Jackson, a known Cherokee Indian. So they'll pay a Black American leader to lie and sell out while classifying himself correctly despite the lie. If Black Americans came from Africa by boat in the 1600s, America didn't figure this out until 1988? And this isn't just a white lie. This is a lie woven by $5 pretendians, by secret treaties between immigrant groups, by decades of policy and propaganda all aimed at one single goal, convincing the world that the original people of the soil simply do not exist. They have every story in the world about the false history. And then you ask for ship manifest and evidence of ships, and then suddenly they can't produce them. But they could show you evidence of the Titanic hundreds of feet under the ocean. They won't even show you the entirety of the Titanic under the water. Only a corner of this ship. They still parse that history. They have reclassified the true indigenous people, renamed you, and redrawn maps around you, hoping you would forget the land your spirit is made from. Now they deploy their little native influencers online, armed with fraudulent petitions and digital picket signs, begging platforms to remove you from your own story. They're performing a pathetic pantomime of indigeneity. If you are indigenous, why would you need outside help? What are they protecting? If you're truly indigenous Native Americans, how could someone take that from you? Why the sudden panic? Every post they make, every petition they circulate is an admission. You've been caught, and now history will be made. Every other race are the visitors. It is time, Black Americans. Time for you to start acting like the host in your home, because all of this is yours. It is time you start acting like the host.
Hey, this is a good news, bad news post for people who voted for Trump. I'm a bad news first kind of person. So, according to recent studies, undocumented immigrants contribute nearly $100 billion in federal, state, and local taxes annually, with a significant portion coming from sales and property taxes, even though they are often ineligible for the benefits these taxes fund. This demonstrates their substantial impact on the U.S. economy despite their immigration status.
And it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking. Te gusta?
It's really fun having them. That's what she said. In reference to illegal immigrants.
Good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. Let's see, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff.
Yeah. So we all know that when it comes to the American economic and, the development and majority of the revenues, the income, we all know that the immigrants contribute almost 50% of that revenue and even the high standard of living in the US. We can all agree. Because according to statistics, like I said, they have seen that almost 100 billion was actually paid from the immigrants. When it comes to tax and the revenue, 100 billion was actually paid. I think that was in the 2025 season, something like that. Yes. And the whole aspect of deporting the immigrants is because, according to President Trump, is because the immigrants, they are paying his kindness with, they are not following his rules and his protocols. They are going against. But we all know that when it comes to human, we all are human. We can't be 100% perfect. Same goes to the US citizen. There are people in the US which are actually citizens of the country that commit a lot of, crimes and the rest. And there are also people who follow the rules. So we can't just, drag it all around the fact that it's because they are deporting them because they are committing crimes. You get the point. Yeah, it's probably okay for them, for the ones that are actually committing crime to be deported, but not to make the scenarios look like all of the immigrants in the US are actually committing crime. That's why they are deported. Because according to what one of the clips we saw here, we have seen that the reason, the mindset that majority of the US citizens are having is that because of the, sometimes difficult when job seeking and, how can I put it, when the economy is not doing, very well, they believe that is because of the immigrants in the country. Meanwhile, looking at the statistics, you are going to see that majority of the revenue and the incomes is being generated from immigrants. And we can also accept that, there are many jobs, a lot of jobs that immigrants are willing to do, accept the jobs in a very low income, like very low paid rate, that the US citizens cannot. That is one of the reasons why you see an immigrant working almost 9 hours a day non-stop, because they have, when leaving their country, they have this motivation to better than living, and they believe that the US is the place that can do that for them. And when they are in the US, they have that willingness, they can sacrifice to do that job for even a lower range, a lower paid rate compared to the US citizen. And that is one of the reasons why you will see when you're talking about agriculture and construction sites. When you move towards that site, you're going to look at the people who are actually working there on a daily basis. You're going to see that majority of them are the immigrants. Why? Because they have that notion in them that being in America, in as much as the lifestyle there is very comfortable, but you need to work to earn something. But the US citizen, the US citizen, they believe that although you need to work, but the number of hours they are working to earn something is too much for them to handle. So they believe that deporting the immigrants, they are going to have shorter hours of work with a huge pay rate. That is the whole thing speculating around the deportation issue. But they want to wrap it around the fact that it's because of the crime committed by the immigrants. Now, statistics is showing otherwise. So what are we supposed to believe? Okay, let's keep aside that part for now. Okay, for examples, let's take a look at something very common. Let's take an example of the iPhone. The person that actually discovered the iPhone is a black, he's an immigrant in the US. So we cannot be, we cannot make these things look like it's because of the immigrants that the American are not doing good, or maybe it's because of them that sometimes they experience low standard of living. Because if we look around this scenario, we are going to see that the immigrants have a lot of impact in the US, contributing a lot to their well-being, a lot to the government revenue, and a lot in the political affair. And we are also seeing that statistics is showing it, but the citizens cannot believe, because they think that it's because of the immigrants that they are having it difficult to look for jobs, because of the immigrants that they are working nights. Some of them cannot even find jobs. Some are working 8 hours a day. It's because of the immigrants that they cannot pay. Some can find it difficult to pay apartment. And all those complaints are like, does not make sense, because the immigrants, they put in a lot of work. And if you see the type of businesses, this type of jobs they move into, these are jobs that without them, those jobs are going to be, scanty. Nobody in the US as a citizen will want to do that job, especially when it comes to the pay rate of the jobs. Very, very low income and high number of hours just to earn a living. And you're saying that the main problem is because of the immigrants, that, as this thing is crazy. I don't know what you think about this, or like to hear your thoughts in the comment section. If this is your first time seeing me, I go by the name Gislen. Please like the video, share it to your friends, family, comment your thoughts, and see you in my next